today's session. Let's take a review of what we learned yesterday. Yesterday we started loop control structure. Each loop has got three parts. Basically, loop is used for performing repetitive task, and that repetitive task might be a part of the whole program. It is not that we whole program is a loop. Loop is a control structure like if else. If we want to take decisions, we use the if else. If we want certain part of the program, certain statements of the program to be executed repeatedly, then we put that part inside a loop. Now there are three loops. One is a while loop, another is the for loop, and third one is the do while loop. The philosophy of each loop is same. I mean, there has to be initialization, there has to be condition part, and there has to be some increment or decrement. So these three parts are going to be there, right? Because if you do not give initialization, then loop won't understand where to start. If you don't give condition, loop doesn't understand where to stop. And if you don't put increment or decrement, then there are chances that loop would be executed infinitely. There are chances. Okay, a few exceptions are there, but these are basic parts of any loop, that is a for loop, while loop, or do while loop. Now, as I told yesterday, as far as syntax of while loop is concerned, while is a keyword followed by a pair of parentheses. Inside that parenthesis, we write the condition. At the end, there is not semicolon. Then that while condition is followed by a pair of curly braces like if and else. Pair of curly braces is not mandatory, so it may happen that only one single statement is associated with uh, while loop or for loop or any loop, but usually it is not done. So we put the pair of curly braces after the while. That block, we call it as the while block or block of the loop. That whatever written inside that block, the number of statements, all those statements will be repeatedly executed till the condition inside while becomes false. That is what I told you yesterday. Yesterday we tried to uh, solve simple program using while loop. I will. A couple of students have got some issues along with while loop. So before I start for loop, uh, I will again explain that while loop, and then we will move on to for loop, right? Okay. So this was one of the yesterday's program. The program was to find the square of five numbers entered by the user. Five numbers. So it is up to you. If you want square of 10 numbers, you can just change that condition inside the while. Now, three variables are declared I, num, and square. That is the type declaration. Now, this I is equal to 1. Usually, this I is acting as a loop counter, right? Loop counter, counter of the loop. So that is the initialization part of loop. Next statement comes as a while, that is a loop. Compiler understand that programmer wants to deal along with loop. And inside while there is a condition part. So condition you have written is execute this loop till I is less than or equal to 5. Here initialize I to 1. So it so definitely the value of when the value of I becomes 6, this loop will be executed, or till the value of I is less than 5. Inside loop, the code which we want to execute. So inside loop we are taking input, enter number. We are taking the input from the user using scanf function call, and then we have written the formula for calculating the square of a number. So it is a simple formula, mathematics formula. The number multiplied by the same number, we get the square of that number. So this is just arithmetic expression, right? Why I am telling this? If you remove this while loop, right, what will happen? This program is going to be executed, right? But this program will execute only once. So it will ask for the user input, it will print the square, that's all. Program will be stopped. But we want that to be executed 5 times. That's why we have put that code inside the loop. No, first time when control goes here to check the condition, I is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 5. So control goes inside the loop. So these three statements will be executed. It will print uh, the square of the number, whichever you have entered, and then loop counter is incremented. What will happen if we don't write this statement? Suppose we do not write this statement in increment, we do not write increment part. What will happen? You will enter number, it will be stored, square will be find out, then it will print the square, right? Control goes here again because that is the structure of the loop. What is the value of I? Again it is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 5. Again this will be executed. So this will go on executing infinite time because I is not getting incremented at all. Right? I is not getting at all incremented. What will happen if you write by mistake? By mistake, suppose. Instead of incrementing that, you decrement that, suppose. You write I is equal to I minus 1. What will happen? This will also go on executing and executing, right? Because the value of I is initially 1, 1 minus 1. When control goes here, 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 is less than or equal to 5. Again, it will be executed. Then the value of I becomes minus 1. Minus 1 is less than or equal to 5. So it will go on executing, right? So it will never become 6 because loop will be terminated only when it becomes more than 5. So while writing increment part or decrement part, you need to be very careful. Students make mistake. As far as this is concerned, initialization has to be there, right? If you don't initialize value, then loop may be executed or may not be executed. depending upon the garbage value inside the I, because when you declare a variable, it contains some garbage value. If that garbage value is, suppose I contains garbage value as 5 to 527, then it won't complain. If you don't initialize this, compiler is not going to complain. But this 527 uh, is not less than 5, so loop won't be executed at all, right? If suppose I contain some minus value, right? Suppose minus 3500, right? So minus 3500 is less than 5. So loop will be executed, this part is executed. Then suppose here it is increment, you have written this statement correct, right? So 3000 minus 3500 plus 1, so that is a minus 3000, what is that? 449, 3449, right? So again that is less than 5. So that this again will be executed 3550 more times, right? So what I mean, the initialization, condition, and increment decrement, you have to write very carefully. Okay. So that is a first type of loop, that is a while loop. Now today we will see the for loop. For loop is usually popular among programmers. So earlier loop I will write again. That is a while loop for printing numbers from 1 to 10. So for I we have initialized to 1, right? Right. While I is less than or equal to 10, right? Printf percent %d, right here I, right? I is equal to I plus 1. You can write anything, or you can write I plus plus or I plus equal to 1, that is a compound operator. So yesterday we saw this program, and it prints numbers from 1 to 10, right? Right. Now for loop is some superfine version of while loop. As far as while loop is concerned, the initialization is different at a different initialization different statement, condition is a different statement, and the increment is different statement. Okay, but when you write the while loop, its syntax is bit compact, and since it is a compact syntax, basically it is preferred by C programmers, right? So first let's see the syntax. This is the syntax for loop. For again is the keyword. Syntax is keyword for followed by opening and a pair of parentheses. The first part is initialization, the second part is condition, and third part is increment or decrement. Increment or decrement. All these three parts are separated by semicolon. Don't forget this. Right? Semicolon must be there. And then this is followed by pair of curly braces, inside which we write the body of the loop. We call it as the body of for loop. So same program we wrote yesterday, we will try to understand for loop using the for syntax of for loop, using the syntax of for loop. So Let's write the same program using the for loop. So initialization, condition, and increment all are going to be part of for loop. So for, right, I will write the initialization part, condition part. Then comes the condition. I is less than or equal to 10. Then increment. I is equal to I plus 1. Right? And then you can put the curly braces if you want multiple statements to be. But here we are going to write just a single statement, that is the printing numbers, write percent %d, and here write I, right? So let's study this. For is the keyword, opening and closing parenthesis. This is initialization part, then semicolon, condition part, semicolon, increment, right? So how this program is executed, how this loop is executed, let me run this first. So it prints number from 1 to 10. How this is executed, the control goes here. In the animated course, I have explained this with the help of animation. So when you go through that uh, function of for loop, okay, how it is executed, you can see it inside this only because of animated effects. But still here I will explain it again. So when control reaches this statement, then I is 1, right? Then it goes here. Control reaches here. First, next it checks whether the condition is true. Since I contains uh, 1, which is less than 10, from here control goes inside the body of the loop. So it control reaches here, right? It prints whatever is to be done. Here value of I, current value of I will be printed, that is 1. Then it doesn't go to the next loop because this statement is inside the loop. So loop is not going to be terminated till condition becomes false. So from here it goes to the con- uh, testing part, right? Rather not testing part, increment part, third part of the loop. That is the value of I will be incremented. It's going to be incremented. Here the value of becomes 2. From here control again reaches here to the condition part. Again it is tested. Again it is compared. Condition is true. Again it goes inside. Value of I becomes 3. Goes here. Printed. Value of I becomes 4. Again compared. Again it is printed. So somewhere down the line value of I becomes, suppose 9 is printed. Here 9 plus 1 I becomes 10. 10 is less than or equal to 10. So it goes here. 10 is printed. Value of I becomes 11. It goes here. Value of I becomes is 11. 11 is not less than or equal to 10. So condition becomes false and loop is terminated. What do you mean by loop is terminated? The control goes here. Control goes next statement after the block of the loop. Next statement, whichever is next statement over there. So it will go there, right? So this is how for loop is written. Now, like while loop, this can be written as I plus plus, right? Loop will be executed. This can be written as prefix, so plus plus I, so it will be executed, right? Or it can be written I plus equal to 1. So it works because it is a compound operator. So these are the three ways to write this. Suppose if I write I is equal to 10, I is equal to 10, and I want print numbers from 10 to 1. So loop has to be rearranged because that is a programmer's responsibility. Programmer has been given task to print numbers from 10 to 1, reverse order, right? So how will you do this? You will initialize I to 10, right? Condition has to be changed. You need to write condition as till I is greater than or equal to 1, right? And you need to decrement this. You can write I minus minus. Before, because see, loops and all these things are confusing part. And it is not that only you are confused. Even seasoned programmer or a teacher like me are confused each time. That is quite obvious. But the remedy over this is uh, first design that what you want to do, put it on the paper, put your constructs on the paper, and manually execute that program. Just imagine that you are a compiler. You are a compiler, right? Or you are an operating system. You are going to execute that program, right? So execute that program manually, and we call it as a dry run. So here we will dry run this. What is the value of I here? 10. Whether 10 is greater than or equal to 1? Yes, condition is true. It goes inside, it will print 10. Here 10 becomes 10 is decremented, value of I is decremented, so it becomes 9. Whether 9 is greater than or equal to 1? Yes, condition is true, so it will print 9. It becomes 8. 8 is greater than or equal to 1, it will be printed. Somewhere value 2 will be printed, right? I becomes 2, 2 is printed. The value of I is 2, it becomes 1. Whether 1 is greater than or equal to 1? Yes, it is true. This it will be printed. It comes here. Value of I becomes 0. Whether 0 is greater than or equal to 1? No. So condition is false. So loop will be terminated. So if you execute this program, it will print numbers from 10 to 1. Right? What if by mistake if you write I is greater than or equal to 1? What will happen? It will print numbers from 10 to 2. Got that? Small changes you make. 10 to 2. Why? Because you have written condition as execute the loop till the value of I is greater than 1. Right? Not 1. So that is where you need to your concepts of decision control structure and uh, the knowledge of relational operators comes into picture. That's why yesterday I said when you learn loops part, you need uh, knowledge of loop in addition to knowledge of sequential control structure and decision control structure. In the third chapter, you need knowledge of first, sound knowledge of first and second. In the next part, next chapter, you need knowledge of sequential control structure, decision control structure, as well as loop control structure. Because in that chapter, that is a switch case control structure. Intentionally, I have given you programs where you will use decision control structure, loop control structure, and switch case control structure itself. So likewise, you are going to learn, right? Now, again, we will try that one more program, the yesterday's program, right? I will write the square of the number, or today we will write the cube of the number, right? So int cube, and one more variable as the num. Right? I is a counter variable, so I is equal to 1. I less than or equal to, suppose you write for 6, I plus plus, and inside this I will write enter number. I scan that %d ampersand num. I write the formula for the cube. So cube is equal to num into num into num. Right? I'll print here cube of %d is %d slash n num comma cube. Right? This is a bit elegant than while loop. That's why programmers like this loop. Why? Because there is no fear of missing something. Like in the while loop, you need to write increment here. But all that everything we have done in one single statement, one single, right? So this is the initialization, condition, increment. Everything is there, right? So if I compile this program, run this program, here the value of I is 1, right? And the it is asking for the user input. So I'll enter 5. It prints cube of 5 is 1 to 5. Next it is asking again 8, right? 5 1 2 7 3 4 3 9 7 15. Cube of 15 is 3375 4. That's all. Loop is finished. So that loop is executed 5 times. Got that? Is that clear? So this is how for loop is executed. Now let's see what are the intricacies. If somebody, if I write, I do not write like here, I write here, I is equal to I plus 1. This is valid, there is no problem. Okay, but you should not write like this. No, it should not write like this. Okay? The internal, there must be 3 parts. So if you write, leave there blank space, nothing. Why? Because condition is written here. What if condition is written here again? What will happen? I will execute it twice, right? So loop won't be executed 5 times. It will be executed less than 5, probably 2 times or 3 times at the most. Why? Enter number 5, enter number 6, enter number 4. That's all. 3 times. Because I incremented twice, right? So I have taught you syntax, right? And just showing the intricacies. So it may happen that somebody writes unnecessarily programmer won't do this, right? But you should be aware about the probable structure of for loop. So I is equal to condition I have written, but don't forget to write the semicolon here. It may happen that somebody initialize the variable here only. I have initialized I here. Okay. So here is no need, but semicolon must be there because 3 parts must be there. I is equal to 1, initialization is there. So I'm not initializing it again. So this is the initialization part, condition part, and increment. Increment is written here. Initialization part is written here. This is valid loop. No syntax error, nothing. This is valid, perfectly valid. So if you run this code, this will be executed 5 times. Got this? So this will be executed 5 times. Now, the earlier one. Suppose I want to print cube of numbers 1 to 25, right? Now, in that case, how will you? There is no need to take input from the keyboard, so I will remove this part. I will remove this part. I will write here I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 25, and I plus plus, right? This I will remove. Now, what changes need to be made? Here there should be I into I into I, right? Now is not necessary. I will remove this. There should be I here. Necessary changes have been made. So this code will output you will get cube of first 25 numbers. See here. So cube of 1 is 1, 2 is 8, 3 is 27, right? Like that. So it will give cube of 25 is 15625. Here you are using the counter for calculation purpose because that is your need. Okay. So no how to write mathematical expression in programming is not important. How you put your logic, how do you think, and how you are able to put it in coding statements, that is important, right? So what you want, lot of programs are there in the in your assignment sections. Lot of programs are going somewhere around, I think 10 to 15 programs are going to be there. Mind you, some of them are very difficult, so I'm no preparing you. I'm preparing you. You are going to face lot of difficulties while writing all those programs, but try all these programs on your own. Then only you can master C language. Because no, writing these programs is a frustration, lot of frustration. Unless you are frustrated, you are not going to learn C language. It is not easy, my boys. So unless you are frustrated, if you keep yourself away from that, if you feel that no, let's not solve it because I will be frustrated, then you only will be frustrated, remain frustrated, right? So try that, get frustrated, try that, get frustrated, then you will find the solution. I'm quite sure about that. It is. I will tell you my own story. When I learned C language way back uh, in 1997, I suppose, my teacher had given me one. The program was difficult. Teacher had given me one program. The code was because nobody was, no internet was there, no nothing was there. Just he had given me one program to solve it. And usually there was only books, and books have got limited programs. Solution kind of thing was not there. Now on the internet, if you write something, you will get thousands of solutions. So only option along with us was to write the program on my own. You may not believe that program is actually from the string chapter. You may not believe I took almost 7 days to write that program. Okay. Daily 1 hour, 2 hour, I was trying to solve that program. How many lines of code were there? Hardly 100 lines of code were there. Hardly 100 lines. But I spent almost 15 to 20 hours, I think, to write that 100 lines of code. What I mean, that kind of efforts I expect from you. So don't get frustrated if you fail to answer quiz questions or fail to write the program. No problem. Try again and again and again. Right? Okay. So this is how for loop is executed. Now uh, let's go to the next part. We talked about this increment and decrement operator. Right? So plus plus is the increment operator and minus minus is the decrement. Both can be prefix as well as postfix. I'm going to talk about this. What is the meaning of prefix and what is the meaning of postfix? I'm going to talk about this. Compound operator are there. So I talked about plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplication equal to. Right? So it is same as if I write I plus equal to 5. That means I is equal to I plus 5. Right? Same logic applies to rest of the loops. I multiplication equal to 3. That means I is equal to I into 3. That's it. Right? Same story everywhere. Now there is a do while loop. Right? What is the syntax? It is some different version of while. Okay. Variant of while we can say. Here do again is the keyword. While as usual I have told you it is the keyword. Do is the keyword in C language. Syntax is initialization is going to be there. All three parts are going to be there, no doubt. So initialization is there. Here do comes first. Do, then curly brace or body of the loop starts, body of the loop ends, and whatever you want to be executed repeatedly, it is written inside the uh, loop. At the end, there would be an increment or decrement, and condition is tested at the end. While condition is tested at the end of the loop, right? So execute do this till condition is true. This is how we are telling the compiler, do this, do this, do this till what condition remains true. So this is how the do while loop is executed. Let's write the same program of printing. Okay, convert this program into do while loop, right? So I'll write here do. Initialization is required before start of the loop, and I will write here I plus plus, and here condition is written while I is less than or equal to 25. And don't forget in the while, for, and do while. This is the only loop where the this is terminated by semicolon. For statement is not terminated by semicolon. While is not terminated by semicolon. But here only do while loop. Here you need to put the semicolon. If you don't put it, it will give a compile time error, right? Because that is the syntax. So how this loop is executed? Int I is equal to 1 cube, but uh, initialization is done along with the assignment. It may happen that somebody will write declare variable, and just before the loop you will write here I is equal to 1. That's it, right? So I is equal to, when it goes inside, q will be calculated, it will print, I is incremented, goes here, control goes here, condition is tested whether I is less than or equal to 25, right? So likewise, when I becomes, suppose when I becomes 25, I becomes 25, condition is true, goes inside the loop, cube of 25 will be calculated, it becomes 26, while 20 here condition becomes false, so control goes outside. I mean, control doesn't go again at the beginning of the loop. If I execute this program, it will print give the same output as the earlier one. So cube of 1 is 1, 2 is 8, like that. Got that? Now you will find lot of snippets into this, but okay, from the quiz you will understand a lot of intricacies of uh, loops like if else. Through the quiz of if else you are understanding lot of intricacies. Similarly, through the quiz section of loops, you are going to understand hundreds of concepts, hundreds of interesting features of loop. Now let's talk on the. I will close this. Let's talk on some interesting feature of that prefix and postfix operator. Right. I'm going to print numbers from 1 to 10, and then I will talk on this. Right? This is a simple loop of printing numbers from 1 to 10. It will print numbers from 1 to 10. Right? Now, let's declare one more variable here, int, suppose p and q. Right? If I write p is equal to 5, right? If I write q is equal to p plus plus, right? Now p plus plus, as we know, p plus plus can be written in three different ways. P is equal to q is equal to p plus 1, right? In that case, if I print value of p, I'm printing value of p as well as q, right? I'm not touching to this loop, so it will print. So value of p is 5, Value of P is 5 and Q is 6. So P is 5 here, no doubt. Value of Q, because we are adding 1 to P, right? Now, if I write here P plus plus, right? I told you yesterday that when increment operator is independently used, like suppose if I write, I'm just reprinting value of P. Try to understand this code. If I run this code, it will print 5. P is equal to 5, right? If I write here P plus plus, it will print value of P as 6, right? If I write P is equal to P plus 1, again it will print value of P as 6. If I write P plus equal to 1, it will print value as 6. But all this happens when we use the increment operator as independent one. So if you write plus plus P, it will print 6. If you write P plus plus, it will print 6. So effect is same. But this effect of prefix or postfix is not same when when this is a part of the expression, right? I will show you carefully. Watch this carefully. I told you that this increment can be written anywhere, right? So earlier we write inside the for loop. So what if I write increment here? What will happen? Nothing will happen. The program will be executed. There are no issues, no problems. It will print numbers from 1 to 10. How this program is executed? I is equal to 1, 1 is less than or equal to 10. It will go inside, it will print. Now, at the time of printing, now this I plus plus is not independent. It is a part of full expression, right? So here I have written I plus plus. So it goes here first. From here, as soon as condition is false, it goes inside printf loop, printf function. It starts printing whatever is written inside the string. Here is a string, so it comes across format specifier and as a 3D, right? So it understands some values to be picked up from the other end. So it goes after the comma. There it finds I. The value of I is 1. So it is printed. Then value of I is incremented because this whole expression is yet not solved. So since it is a postfix, value of I is printed first and then value of I is incremented by 1. So value of I becomes now 2. But it is not immediately printed here. No, because that expression has already been solved, right? So it goes here, compare it 2 is less than or equal to 10, yes, it comes here, and then it is printed. Again the value of I is incremented. Why? Because it is postfix. Why I am giving too much stress on this? What if I write plus plus I? What happens here is that I is less than or equal to 10. What I contains 1, this condition is true. It comes here. It wants to print. But I is the plus plus here is a prefix. So before printing, I is incremented. Right? So I becomes 2 and then it is incremented. Why? Because it is a prefix increment operator. Prefix is a unary operator. I mean plus plus is a unary and that is a prefix. So if you run this code, it will print numbers from not 1 to 10 but 2 to 11. Got this? Got this? Because when the value of I is 10 at the end, 10 is less than or equal to 10. There is no option. There is no problem. But when it goes inside the first value of I, which is 10, that is incremented by 1, that is 11, and then 11 is printed. So this I want to tell you about the effect of prefix and postfix when these are part of an expression. So you need to be very careful when you are going to attempt lot of questions on prefix and postfix in the quiz section. Got that? Friends, uh, I wanted to finish today, but no issue. Uh, Part of this chapter is still remaining. So break statement is remaining, continuous statement is remaining, nesting of loops is remaining. So these three parts and one more special loop. So these three parts I will cover on Tuesday. Tuesday, right? Till that, till that, on Tuesday I won't uh, expect and accept as well any excuse from you. I want to finish. I want you to finish first two. I mean, the first two sections. That is the section one. That is introduction to C language, sequential control structure, all quiz, all assignments, and decision control structure, all videos, all assignments, and uh, this third chapter loop, that is a while loop, do while loop, and for loop. All videos, quizzes up to that point, all that you must complete. I don't want because I can see that your progress in your on my uh, e-learning course, animated e-learning course. I can see progress of somebody is less, progress of Rakesh is less, progress of Ashutosh is the best among all of the students. He has up to date updated his learning, and he is extremely update. Okay,